حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى والمغفرة اللهم إنا نسألك الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين.
I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making us witness this day, yet another town hall meeting organized by the For the Cycle Community Initiative. It is becoming our tradition to organize these kind of events for which we provide a platform where we can engage in robust discussions, we can share innovative ideas, we can think of ways of developing our communities. It is not a hidden secret that Zamfara has been backwards, basically, in all indices of development. And we feel by the theme of today's event, we can engage our elected representatives, elected leaders. We can tell them the needs of our people. They can hear from us as the representative of the downtrodden, and they can also hear from the people themselves the basic needs of the people they are representing, the people who elected them to the positions they occupy. We have, in doing so, tried to compile a small booklet, we call it a compendium, where we have traveled a great distances across Zamfara. We traversed various places and villages and wards and local governments. We discussed with several community leaders and many masses. We compiled a book of their basic needs where we have articulated the needs of each and every local government, each and every community, each and every ward across the state, which we intend to hand over to our representatives and elected leaders. And being a civil society organization ourselves, we intend to monitor implementation of those basic needs that our people are demanding from their leaders. Hopefully, by the time we come here next time again, I may not be the chairman then, but hopefully the Zamfara Cycle will be existing, and we will have the cause to celebrate the progress we've made from where we are today to a certain position of development that Zamfara is yearning for. We will also, inshallah, going forward, are planning to organize pre-election debates for our elected representatives or for candidates who are willing, who put themselves forward to represent us. We need to know what they have in place for us. We need to know whether they even know our problems. Because the idea behind doing this is that we know in the course of the electioneering, there were several promises made. We have heard that educational sector will be fixed. We have heard that health sector will be reformed, the economy will be improved, and so on and so forth. But it is our firm belief that because due to some reasons, obvious reasons, those candidates were not able to travel to various places in inner recesses of the villages we have. So they don't know the extent of the problem we have. So we feel as a civil society organization, it is our duty to bring it to them. to bring it to the fore, for them to know the behavior, the burden they put on themselves and the expectations we have of them. Your Excellency, the chairman of the occasion, with your permission, I will want to call on our representatives also, because I can see on the side we actually earmarked for the State House of Assembly members, basically none of them is present. Of course, we have extended an invitation to them. For me, personally, this shows the disrespect our elected leaders have for their constituents. If they are not here, it means they don't respect their constituents. We are here to discuss the problems of their people, and they are not here to listen. That is profound disrespect as far as I'm concerned. And we are calling on you, Your Excellency, sir, to take charge, to take lead, and mandate these people to make sure that whatever they try to bring forward is not for their personal gain, but for their people. And inshallah, our civil society organizations will be monitoring. We will be calling your attention where necessary, and we will be commending you where necessary. Thank you very much.
Which is a new Zamfara state towards achieving a people-centered public service, shows clearly that there is so much dissatisfaction with the situation in Zamfara state. And I think if we give the people the opportunity to participate by telling the leaders what they are supposed to do, it means we have now beginning to address the problems that have been confronting the state. It is from the main theme that the organizers have given me a topic to address. The topic given to me is citizens' participation in governance as a panacea for inclusive development. But then I tried to modify it to read citizens' participation in governance for inclusive development in the Zamfara state. Because of the short time allocated for the presentation, I will read through the paper, and I think where there is the necessity to explain, then I will maybe take a few seconds or minutes maybe to explain. Over the years, the development of Zamfara state has been crippled because of various challenges that are socio-economic and political in nature. Most recently, heightened insecurity. This meeting, no doubt, is committed to coming up with workable solutions in order to reverse the trend. It is expected that at the meeting, stakeholders will consider strategies for the remaking of Zamfara. We should be looking at the way to remake Zamfara, because this Zamfara that we are in is a new state. So, but it has been facing problems over the years, so it means we have to look at the ways to remake it. The statistics from the national and international organizations, which both the chairman and the chairman of the occasion and chairman of the cycle have made reference to, indicate a worsening state of affairs as it relates to social and economic development of the state. For instance, both the UNESCO and UBEC reports indicate an increase in the number of out-of-school children from 214 in 2020 to a staggering figure of 883,953 in 2022. That was as at November. Poverty rate from the reports of UNDP and NBS show that the phenomenon has been on the increase from 73% in 2019 to 78% in 2022. Poverty, according to the indices for measurement, is not limited to household income alone, but also access to quality education, suitable homes, availability of basic infrastructure and services. It is therefore important to say that more participation of the citizens in the affairs of the state is one of the ways to promote good governance, which is a crucial requirement for development and better living conditions for the people. So what is the significance of public or people's participation in governance? I have enumerated 5, which I think are not exhaustive at all. Number 1, public participation is supposed to promote transparency and accountability in government. Number 2, it is a political empowerment of the people to influence government policies and the actions of the political actors. Number 3, it is one of the ways to promote efficiency and delivery of qualitative services by government. Number 4, it allows for regular feedback from the people as a yardstick to assess progress, success, and challenges. Number 5, it guarantees consistency and continuity of programs and activities of government without politicization. Because this is one of the things that have been affecting governance in this country. Somebody will start a project, the one coming after him will abandon that project no matter the impact that it is going to have on the people. So the next section talks about the imperative. What are the objectives? These are the significance. This is what we expect. But then if we get it at the end of the day, this is what we expect to get. Promotion of awareness among the people to support and contribute to the success of government policies and programs for development. Number 2, people will now take the responsibility of proactively engaging in the promotion of good governance and accountable leadership. Number 3, it will now educate the general populace to get better understanding of the nature and types of development challenges, especially in a state like Zamfara. Number 4, it will enable the discovery of workable strategies for the promotion of resilience and motivation among the people in order to mitigate the effect of the obstacles and factors on the development of the state. Number 5, it will now lead to that means the participation by the public in governance. It will now lead to the institutionalization of a systematic engagement with stakeholders, which can be statewide in terms of the forum that you get for regular discussion about the development of the state by relevant stakeholders drawn from different sections of the society. The next part discusses about the history of Zamfara before the modern period, and what are the lessons that we can learn from the history of the area, which I think if we adopt some of the lessons, we are going to get a change. It is perhaps clear to some of us who are aware of the ancient history of this area that contemporary Zamfara is the new state created in 1996 on the land where all the Zamfara kingdom had existed. Ancient Zamfara was one of the prominent kingdoms in Hausaland. The old kingdom had a rich history of important social, economic, and political achievements that had reached high level by the 17th century, as recorded in historical works by eminent scholars such as Garba Nadama, A.R. Augi, and our late Mahdi Adam, to mention just a few. Important aspects of the history of Zamfara Kingdom included spectacular achievement in public administration, efficient management and utilization of resources by the rulers. The old Zamfara was successful in building a state system which attracted migrants from different cultural and linguistic communities. Among them were the Gobrawa, the Fulani, Burmawa, Zabarmawa, Bari, to mention just a few. Some of the migrants, as well as the autochthonous Zamfarawas, had engaged in various economic activities which laid the foundation of such activities like crop cultivation, livestock rearing, mining, and iron working, as well as local manufacturing activities for the material needs of the people. So one can say that it was a self-sustaining society even before the coming of the colonial rulers. The Zamfara Kingdom was economically prosperous, politically strong, and socially cohesive for several years until the period of political upheavals in the Rima Basin, where the state was located. It was the rivalry for political supremacy among the dominant states in the region during the 18th century, and later the jihad of Usman Ampodio that led to the overthrow of the Hausa states, including Zamfara, by the 19th century. During the colonial period, Zamfara was attractive to the colonial state, which was established by the British following the defeat of the Sokoto Caliphate. The British colonial administration was determined to exploit the vast agricultural potentials and deposits of gold and other minerals in Zamfara. Possibly people, some of us may not know, because of lack of knowledge of history, that the gold that you see, people now are rushing, are now struggling to exploit in this area, had become known to the British long time ago, and they mobilized their companies and merchants to come and participate in the exploitation. The unfortunate thing is that during that time, they excluded Africans. They excluded the indigenous populations, because part of the requirement for you to participate in mining activities was that you need to have capital and you need to also have technical know-how. And this was the difficult condition that many of our people could not meet, and therefore that remained a monopoly in the hands of the British merchants and British companies. The colonial infrastructure, mainly the railway and the highway constructed from Daria to link Gusau and other important towns like Oranamoda, was all done to facilitate economic exploitation. In the post-colonial period, Zamfara area was the industrial hub of northwestern state and later on Sokoto state. But all this has become now a thing of history, which I think must be addressed, which I think must be resolved. So the next section in the paper addresses the intellectual basis. What are the ideas of scholars? What are the ideas of writers concerning the issue of citizens' participation? Because it's not just something from out of the sky. It has been documented, and in this section, what I did is to sample the opinion of some modern scholars as well as the scholars of the 19th century Sokoto Caliphate. There is no doubt that citizens' participation in governance, in terms of their involvement in decision-making relating to government policies and influencing actions of political actors, is one of the important elements in governance that should be promoted. The idea of citizens' participation has been discussed in both conventional and Islamic sources by different scholars. Governance is appropriately defined by one renowned writer, and I quote, as a social contract between those in positions of authority and the ordinary citizen. And I think this has been stated by both the chairman of the cycle and also my vice chancellor. They have stated this one. It is only when you have a forum like this that people can voice out their grievances, can tell you their needs, can tell you their aspirations. And you, as somebody who is given that responsibility, you now and go and pursue whatever they have said. Citizens or public participation is a form of empowerment and is considered a crucial component in democratic governance. It provides a new model of public administration and policies to encourage citizens participation in government decision-making process. Participatory governance, as it is called, is therefore a system of government that engages the citizens in both voting and deliberation on matters involving management. It creates an interactive platform between citizens and government. Participatory governance implies that the citizens' participation is the backbone for democracy. Participation provides a platform for an all-inclusive and strengthened democracy. Citizens' involvement can be in different forms. One can be functional, like those that you normally elect, a governor and the legislators, as well as those appointed by the government. They have specific responsibility to discharge in the ministries, in the first sector, and so on and so forth. This is the functional participation. And then the interactive, like the one that we are having here. And then the issue of mobilization, which is another one, like the one initiated by the cycle of Zamfara. For our purpose in this presentation, we will cite most of our examples from the topic of this paper, from the writings also of the Sokoto Caliphate. The founding fathers of the Caliphate have treated many issues relating to leadership, public service and administration, public finance and accountability, resource management, official bribery and corruption, nepotism and favoritism, socio-economic development, and the rights of women, among others, which are the predominant challenges of governance in the contemporary states and communities in Nigeria. The role of people in governance has clear reference in the Holy Quran, where it is emphasized on the issue of imperative of consultation. And I think for those of us who are aware of the history of Islam, we know that that was done by the Prophet, peace be upon him, as well as the rightly guided caliphs, and even those who followed them. Usman bin Fodio has elaborated in his Bayan Wujub al-Hijrah the view of one scholar that if a leader seeks the advice of people and is successful, people will praise him, while people will suffer the consequences of any error due to lack of consultation by the leader. According to Usman Dampodio, one of the worst qualities of a leader is to be opinionated and neglect consultation. The relationship between the leaders and the ordinary populace in terms of the obligations and responsibility of each other have also been spelled out in some of the writings of other leaders like Muhammad Bello in his Usul al-Siyasa and other extant works like Al-Ghayz al-Wabil, Fi Sirat al-Imam al-Adal, where he discusses promotion of the welfare of the people as one of the principles of good governance. According to Muhammad Bello, it is important for the leader to be concerned about the promotion of temporal and religious activities that could bring benefit to the people. The leader should promote policies and programs to encourage artisans, traders, farmers, smiths, tailors, dyers, physicians, grocers, butchers, carpenters, and other social and economic activities that are essential to the lives of the people in towns and villages. The leader must pursue development program to develop the settlements in the countryside by constructing roads, bridges, and the management of markets. These are the views of Muhammad Bello. Social justice is one of the objectives of public participation in governance, which the leadership of a state must promote. Interactive sessions under a democratic session provide the people with the opportunity to make their views known to the leadership. During the 19th century, the promotion of social justice by a ruler has featured in the writings of the Sokoto Caliphate leadership. According to Usman ibn Fodio again, a leader becomes victorious over his opponents because of just leadership, while injustice in the land could lead to the collapse of a kingdom. According to Abdullah ibn Fodio, the brother of Sheikh Fodio, the leader must make himself accessible, I repeat, accessible, holding sittings for audience with the people, especially women and children who are considered the vulnerable. You know, the man, Megiddo could have the opportunity to pass his views, his interests and others, not necessarily in the case of women and children. So this kind of sessions should be conducted on regular basis, like what I think the Zamfara cycle has been trying to do, but I think along the line is being frustrated. In this country, it's not actually easy. It's not an easy task to float a civil society organization and sustain it, because you have to be moving around, you have to be running around soliciting for support, financial support, like the organization of this kind of activity. You don't expect the people, the few officials here to contribute money and hold a session like this. They must go around, and it's not an easy thing. So the leader must not rely on the reports of his appointees alone. According to Abdullah bin Fodio, complaints from ordinary people may possibly be against the appointed leader or the officials, and which means in the process they could suppress it. They could not allow the leader to get these views. Khalid Muhammad Bello had also advised that a leader should be resolute in monitoring official conduct of his appointed officials and personal staff, who often take advantage of the ignorance of a leader to deceive him and make injustice accessible to him in order to serve their personal interest. I think the reference here should be to the practice of having covers in our government houses, in the state house, who put the leader in the middle, and nobody allows him to understand what is happening in the larger society. At the end of the day, going with the morals of this, he is going to account for what he has done. Definitely. Leadership is about service to the people. Hence, the governor, meaning the leader, appointed, must not think that he is the owner of the province, like the state. The governor should not think that the state belongs to him personally, or the president should think that the country belongs to him personally and possibly his family and party loyalist. And by doing this, it means such a leader could arrogate to himself the right to even turn the property of the state to personal use, and which means he can allocate favors to those he likes, and he can deny favors and rights to others that maybe are not so fortunate to be close to him. Finally, conclusions and recommendations. We have learned from the brief history of old Zamfara that he did not get the advantages available to the present Zamfara state, such as population, especially the youth who are the vanguard of change in a society, who are the vanguard of any development that you want, because they are the strong, they are the able-bodied, and they could participate. In terms of ideas, they have right ideas, and in terms of physical things, they can do what the elderly cannot do. So Zamfara state has this advantage, which was not the case in the case of the old kingdom of Zamfara state. Yet, the rulers at that time were able to build a strong and virile economy in the context of their historical reality. The paper hereby recommends as follows: the fight against insecurity, which is the most serious problem facing the state should be intensified using both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches in collaboration with neighboring states with the full support of the federal government. Number two, it is highly recommended that Zamfara state should look at the possibility of resettling the IDPs without necessary delays to enable local communities engage in productive activities. I'm sure we all know, you go around, you see many of them suffering. Some of them are actually well-to-do in their localities, but because of the menace of banditry and kidnapping, they have been forced to leave their settlement. We have to find a way of making them to go back, and that will be another advantage to the economy of the state. Zamfara should harness the available human and material resources through programmatic policies. Programmatic policies, I say. Through programmatic policies and reforms for the development of the economy and society. This is important for the state to be able to survive in an ever-increasing, competitive, and of course, unpredictable political environment in Nigeria. We should not take things for granted, that all that is happening today will continue in the next 20, 100, or 50 years. I think we have to have a rethink that this is not possible. That the society keeps on changing, and we are part of a federation where the demands for government to do more is so much. And I think we have to find a way of looking inward to see that how we can take care of our future. Education must be given the deserved priority by government with sincere, I say with sincere and transparent commitment. With sincere and transparent commitment to facilitate the economic, technological, and industrial transformation of the state. Zamfara should be restored to its former status as an important economic and industrial center in northern Nigeria, which is a challenge to those in positions of leadership. Number 6, which is the last, the development of a human factor is an essential component of good governance, which should be given priority in the state to enable the people contribute individually and collectively. Some contribute with their ideas, some contribute with their wealth. I think it's not good, it's disheartening to see that some well-to-do, some wealthy individuals from the state will prefer to go elsewhere and invest their money and run away from their home state. I think this is one of the ways this is one of the things that the government should look at and also address it. I thank you so much for listening to me, and also thank the auditor for doing it. Thank you.
The Honorable Member House of Representatives, Honorable Kabiru, my partner and his colleague, Honorable Engineer Suleiman Gumi, May Martaba Emir Musau, ably represented by Alhaji Bashir Ambaba, Sarkin Gabas, the chairman of this occasion, my lecturer, Professor Moazu, my lecturer, Professor M.T. Liman, Alagakorota, Liman the Jum'a, other the chairman of Rasaiko, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the existing protocol due to exigencies of time. Quickly, before going into the few remarks I penned down, permit me to quickly respond to the presentation done by the Zamfara Cycle chairman, and to inform this August gathering that as recent as yesterday evening, His Excellency led a strategic team to discuss issues like this, and in that meeting he unveiled to us that 5 primary schools in each local government area of the state have already been penciled down. So ours was to review
in order for a directive to be given for an on-the-spot needs assessment of such schools with a view to quickly bring them to the level that he thinks they should be. And we were in that meeting till after 11. What we just did not have is the pictorials that were presented here. So for His Excellency, all these issues are at his fingertips and he is not sleeping over them. The key critical sectors, education, health, water and sanitation. And again, as recent as also yesterday, by 11:30 he also held a strategic meeting with regards to the provision of water supply in Gusau, the state capital, as well as requiring a strategic roadmap that will guide him in delivering water supply in all the LGAs. Our elder Alhaji Musa did mention previously when we were children, if we visit such local government areas, we do remember it do take us that we do see pipe water coming out of the towns, but now they have all gone dry. So we are quickly looking into that. By Monday, His Excellency is going to inaugurate a water committee brought out from our retirees. One of them was a former general manager of Sokoto Water Board and also retired former MDs of Zamfara Water Board, all brought together, and he had a meeting with them and he gave them a marching order and a very robust terms of reference for them to submit a roadmap on water within the next 2 weeks, and he gave them a marching order. So that is, we are critically looking at all these issues. Quickly permit me to go into the few points I penned down. I thank you all for being here today as we discuss the theme, a new Zamfara state towards achieving a people-centered public service. Under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Dawda Lawal, Zamfara state is witnessing a significant shift in governance towards prioritizing the welfare and well-being of the people through judicious application of scarce resources. Past administrations have indeed neglected all sectors of the economy with attendant severe consequences for the people of Zamfara state. Indeed, banditry and other criminal activities were on the rise and are still rising, posing a threat to the safety and security of our citizens. Worker salaries were not paid for months, causing immense hardship and frustration among the dedicated workforce. We all recall even NAPO for years has not been paid, but as we speak, inshallah, by Monday, our young ones, the pupils, inshallah, will participate in this year's NAPO exams, and going forward, for as long as we remain at the home of affairs, it shall never happen again. Our pupils will continue to write exams, inshallah. So for Dr. Dawda Lawal, the governance of the Zamfara state is going to be people-centered with policies and programs. The new administration is resolutely committed to implementing people-centered policies and programs that prioritize the needs of the citizens. This is by extension is going to be bottom-top approach, with the people taking center stage and taking ownership of what concerns them. This is to ensure accountability and transparency in the way we do things. We understand that the success of any government is ultimately measured by the impact it has on the lives of the people. A few areas we have penned down. One, addressing banditry and criminal activities. The government recognizes the urgent need to combat banditry and other criminal activities that have plagued our state and slowed developmental projects or even brought it to a halt. We will soon unveil a new security strategy to combat banditry and other criminal activities. We will explore, inshallah, all available options to restore peace and security to our communities, working closely with security agencies and engaging with local communities for support and cooperation. but the state government has made it very clear, unambiguous, that soon will of course adhere in name, but not with the bandits, inshallah. We will not go that route again. Two, reforming governance and repositioning the civil service. The civil service is the backbone of any government, and we are committed to repositioning it for greater productivity and efficiency. A comprehensive civil service reforms which will create and move the service to be more responsive, transparent, and accountable to the people of Zamfara state, and that which serves the greater majority of the people diligently and transparently. The next one is infrastructure development in Busau and beyond. We are all, I believe majority of us, 95 or 99% in this hall are all from Zamfara state. The state capital is indeed not a befitting one. So there is a Marshall Plan from Inshallah Federal University Busau to after FGC Busau. There will be a modern dual carriageway with underpasses. These measurements have already been taken, and I assure you within the next 3 months or so, work shall begin on that road, inshallah. We are determined to do the much needed infrastructure in Busau and other parts of the state, as this will not only enhance the quality of life for our citizens, but also attract investments and promote economic activities that will benefit all. The next one is expanding the revenue base. To achieve enduring development, we must raise the state's revenue base. We will explore various strategies to boost internally generated revenue, attract investments, and create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. The last one is engaging citizens and stakeholders. The government acknowledges that the involvement and participation of citizens, community leaders, leaders of thought, and non-governmental groups like the Zamfara Cycle shall be a crucial theme for the state government for our successful governance. We will establish platforms, tools, mechanisms to ensure effective communication, feedback mechanisms, and collaboration with all stakeholders, fostering a sense of ownership and inclusiveness in decision-making process. Conclusively, the dawn of a new era in Zamfara brings with it sacrifice, renewed hope, and determination. The new administration under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Dawda Lawal is committed to building a people-centered public service that prioritizes the needs and aspirations of the citizens. Together, we can transform Zamfara state into a model of good governance, prosperity, and sustainable development, inshallah. Lastly, I use this forum to thank the good people of Zamfara state for their immense support for our administration in its efforts to build a better future for the state. I assure you that we will not stray from our mission of rescuing Zamfara state. It is a journey that we must collectively embark upon. And as citizens and members of the pressure group, you have a great stake in this. By holding us accountable any day, anywhere, we will remain focused on this great mission. Finally, it is our hope, once again, to plead with Zamfara Cycle to continue to remain dogged, use their evil eye to advise government, community leaders, our areas, district heads to draw our attention, because going forward, Zamfara must move forward, inshallah. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much.
I was given only 2 minutes. Therefore, I'll go direct to what I will say. Ina da 'yan mazaɓuna da suka zo daga Mada da Wonaka da ruwan Ɓore da na gansu. I would like to speak a language that they will understand better. Na yi majalisa a 9th assembly, na yi shekara 4, an ban dama na wakilcin shekwa. Na yi karatu a wurin, na yi wasu abubuwa, na ga wasu abubuwa, na kuma yi kurakurai, na kuma yi wasu abubuwa na daidai. Insha Allah ina ba ku tabbaci zai gyara kurakuran da daidai. Kuma mai da hankali matuƙa fiye da hankalin da na mai a 9th assembly da ne. Matsalar tsaro, aikin yi, karatu za mu mai da hankali matuƙa game da su insha Allah ta'ala. A matsalar tsaro ita ce agenda number 1, mun ta da abubuwa guda 3. I think Sani Ahmad Sambo sai na bin mutum ne sai ya san me muke yi kuma me muke ciki sofa. Abin da ya danganci matsalar tsaro tun daga Madawo na Karon Kore Rijiya har zuwa Magami. Abin da ya ɗauko kwarin ganuwa keta bilbis wanzamai ya zagayo ya zo a cikin garin Tsafi. Mun yi abubuwa da dama kuma mun tsara abubuwa da dama wayanda we are not going to say them in public saboda tsarin da muke ciki akai da kuma abin da muke so mu. Akwai kalubale da yawa a matsalar tsaro da ta bijiro wadda kuma take bijirowa. Insha Allah ta'ala ina da yakini kuma ina da tabbaci da girma gwamna shi ma ita ce ajanda shi number 1 kuma insha Allah za mu taimaka mishi wajen ganin cewa kawai da wannan matsala. Matsala ta biyu ita ce matsalar ruwan sha. Dab'in guso mu da gaba ɗayan mu mun yi nazari ya kamata mu sa dab'in guso a cikin budget na federal government saboda gwamnatin jiha ba ta ɗaukar nauyin budget ba ta ɗaukar dab'in guso. Therefore za mu yi iyayen mu tabbatar da cewa mun yi tabbatar da an sa damɗin guso a cikin budget. Kamar yadda kuka sani aikin da majalisa abu 3 ne. We make laws, budget appropriation and oversight. Wannan su ne abubuwan da muke yi a majalisa. Amma kowannen mu we are entitled to nominate a project of 100 million naira as a constituency project. And also we have a zone intervention project. Sometimes it varies from 40, 50. It depends on the appropriation of that particular year. So wannan kuɗaɗen su ne muke kirkatsawa mu yi abubuwan da za mu yi. Wasu mu su gina classrooms, wasu su bada laptop, wasu su bada scholarship, wasu su yi kaza, wasu su yi kaza. Duk waɗannan abubuwan za mu ci gaba da managing wannan little resources ɗin da yake hannun mu. Banda su ba mu da wasu kuɗi da ake ba mu controlling kowane kalan kuɗi, wani abu makamancin wannan. Ta ƙarshe ina kira ga dukkan 'yan constituency duk wanda yake da wata dama ko wani abu da yake ganin ya kamata a yi. Ƙalubalen da muke fuskanta shi ne ba a rubutu abu a kawo muna. Mostly mutane za su zo wurin mu da bukatu nasu na kansu. Idan baka ma mutum ba da kana da kufata zai koma ya ta maganganu ne ta abu. To faɗan mu da mutane abu guda ne, ali ban baka ba. Shi ne faɗan mu kashi da mutane babu wani abu makamancin wannan. Dan haka ina kira ga mutane duk wanda yake da wani sako da yake so a yi ma mazaɓa ko a yi ma wuri don Allah a rubutu muna a kawo muna. Ni na da constituency office a cikin kusa. Na bada lambobin mutane da ya kamata a nema a kawo ko wani abu makamancin wannan. Zama da na yi a 9th assembly shekara 4 da takarda 4 kawai na receiving official complaint na al'umma. Guda transformer ce, guda aka kawo akan matsalar taki, guda akan ɗaukan ma'aikata, sai ta 4 aka kawo ta akan matsalar biyan kuɗin jarabawa na nebo. Na yi acting akan ta na biya ma yaro 800 kuɗin jarabawa na nebo a ƙasa.
Mun san an yi campaign, an yi yakin neman zaɓe, amma saboda wasu dalilai ba ko ina shugabanni suka shiga ba neman taimako balle su ga matsalolin nan da akwai. So mun ɗauke shi akan kanmu cewa za mu shiga ƙauyukan nan, mun kuma shiga muka zakulo matsalolinsu, muka tattauna da su, suka faɗa mana buƙatunsu waɗanda suka so a kai ma shugabanninsu, kuma muka haɗa buƙatun nan a matsayin littafi waɗanda insha Allah za mu hannunta ma shugabannin nan don su gani su san abin da kenan. Mu kuma a matsayinmu na ƙungiyoyi sa kai za mu ci gaba da kulawa da daidai gwargwado mu ga irin progress ɗin da aka samu na waɗannan abun gade. Ba zan rufe ba sai na ƙara magana da ni da turanci cewa shugabanninmu da 'yan majalisun da aka gayyato na jiha mun ba su invitation. Ni kaina na tafi house kusan su 3 ina roƙon su taho su saurara saboda za a tattauna matsalolinsu, amma ga wurin da muka aje musu babu wanda ya zo. Wannan ya gudu cewa ba su kyautata ma jama'a waɗanda suka zaɓe su, ba su ganin kima su, ba su ganin darajar su. Don duk inda wanda ka ce za ka taimaka, za ka yi ma aiki ya baka ƙuri'a, aka ce za a tattauna matsalar shi kuma baka je ba, to baka girmama shi ba kuma baka kyautata shi mashi ba. So muna fata insha Allah nan gaba za a canza wannan trend din kuma za su zo su saurari matsalolinsu matsalolin mutanensu domin a gyara. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Aka bukata a kan su kai waɗannan su gyare-gyare, amma dai insha Allah za su fahimta kuma za su zama.
Your Excellency, on behalf of Zamfara Cycle, I wish to present this needs assessment by the cycle to Zamfara State Government and those elected leaders so that I can go through and see what they can do on behalf of the cycle. Thank you very much. On behalf of Zamfara community.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I wish to take your seat.